Well, beautiful people, best damn nation. Thank you for joining us. I am your humble host, Brian Renegade. And with me, I have the best damn group. First of all, if you see this man in a dark alley, run. He will beat you up in front of your girlfriend and throw you in the trash can. He is the green-eyed bandit. He fights people. Sometimes he bites people. He's your mama's favorite wrestler, and he can whoop your daddy ass. The one and only Roosevelt. What's happening?
What up? What up? What up? What up, man? Hey, let me inform you on something, man. Let me inform you on something. I had a show this past Sunday, and I picked up this dude. He was 375 of them things. And I scooped him up and slammed him on his back and sent him home crying to his mama, boy. That's what I do around here. What's going on, Brian? How you feeling, man? How you feeling? How you living?
Oh, man, blessed and highly favored, man. You know what I'm saying? In these trying times.
You got some bags. You got some bags on here, man. That baby kicking you behind, man. What's going on? You good?
Don't worry about that. I'm trying to not let him take over my house. You understand?
Hey, you stand in the fight. You in there. You got your hands up. Just keep
I got my hands up. He keeps slipping them jabs through, and you know what I'm saying? He don't sleep that much during the night. But you know, every night I got to fight to prove my love. Yeah, so, yeah. My son, he's sleeping a little bit better, but yeah, my brother tired. I'll tell you that much, brother. It's tired. Oh man, listen, we got a special guest in the house, man. Roosevelt, could you please introduce our esteemed guest? Do the due diligence.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a good brother of mine. You have seen him on The Cosby Show. You have seen him on some Tyler Perry plays. You've seen him working with guys like Palmer Williams, Vicky Winders. You've seen this guy singing, preaching, holding it down.
Wow.
He's my New York brethren.
Uh-huh.
Right here tonight, our special guest is the one, the only, and when I say his name, all I want y'all to do is go yeet, even though he's not an Uso, but yeet. We got the one and only Maurice Lauchner. Yeet.
What's happening, my brother?
What's up, man? Hey, it's good to have you right here on the show, man. It's an extreme honor with a man with your experience and your resume, where we get the chance to kind of dig into that and let the people know, those who have who don't have TV, the ones who still got the big box TV, the big square one that you can't move. You know what I'm saying, with the little nozzle on the front. The ones who still got those kind of TVs that don't know who you are, we're gonna let them know who you are right here tonight.
I hope they TVs anymore. I don't even think they sell them.
I'm sure somebody, grandma, great grandma, somebody still got one of them TVs sitting in the living room with the plastic covering on the couch.
Maybe, but you know, at least they're watching TV.
How you feeling today, man? How you feeling?
I feel fantastic, brother. I mean, you know, today's a good day, man. You know, I always try to make each good day, I believe, a great day. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I feel great. I feel good.
That's good. That's great. Real quick, drop your Instagram, because I want the people to go ahead and start following you now. Because one of the things that I do notice about you is that every morning during your shift, because you work a really nice regular job, you know what I'm saying? You help the special needs kids get to and from school and work. I mean, school and home. But you always find time to kind of drop some knowledge on them, drop some words of motivation every morning. So go ahead and drop your Instagram for me real quick.
Wait, now show. Okay, here we go. Let me see. This is my first time uploading. No, that's wrong. Boom. That's Maurice Lauchner, at Maurice Lauchner. That's LAUCHNER. At Maurice Lauchner on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, let's get into it. I know Brian got a lot of questions. He got lots of questions. Look at his face. Look at his face. He want to ask so many questions right now. Go ahead, Brian. Drop your cues on him.
Let's start from the beginning, man. Roosevelt mentioned that you were from New York. Can you talk about your time growing up in New York and how that led to you doing what you do now?
Um, yeah, New York is like if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, and it's a great place to grow up. Um, I grew up between Queens and Brooklyn. I was born in my house in Queens, and eventually, as I grew up, my mom and I we moved out to Brooklyn, and I grew up in Brooklyn, and then moved back out to Queens. But it was an early age when my grandparents and my mom and them they noticed that I had a gift, to sing, and I was always, kind of funny being around like the older men in my family. All of those guys were like funny. They had a certain swag about them, and when you're being raised by them, you adapt to some of their characteristics, and so that's pretty much where I got my laid back, my coolness, and everything, and just watching them, and so being able to grow up around with my grandfather, my uncles, my pops, to look at all of these guys and see that these were, some real hard workers, hustlers. Um, it was a good impartation that I was getting from my grandfather, which my grandfather, and I think Roosevelt and I spoke about this. He was a trainer. He trained professional boxers, and to be around that, him waking me up, as a teenager, 13 years old, he was like, get up, you're going to the Rockaway Beach, you're going to take these guys running. Right. And so he had, a lot of guys that he would go out and train who were very, very good, who made it to the professional level. I remember meeting Carl the Truth Williams, and when he first came to the gym, I remember this personally. This dude didn't even have like training gear. He was in there sparring with cut off jean shorts and
Mm.
snake. And the good thing about it being in that neighborhood where they were, my grandfather had a couple of buddies who he was training with, and they had a parks department where they had built, the boxing gym for the inner city kids who are there. And I mean, I've seen these guys coming from the projects. Carla Truth Williams, he was from the projects. Another guy named Kevin Morrison, who was a lightweight. All these dudes were nasty. I mean, he had a guy named Dynamite. He can knock you out with both hands. He was a welterweight. And these dudes were like, coming up in the ranks, but had some other issues that, that was attacking their lives, young guys having babies and all kind of things like that took a lot of their attention away. But, you know, I was always around that. Now my singing, um, I was growing up in that as well. So, growing up in church, singing all of my life, they noticed my gift of singing when I was about 3 or 4 years old. And um, it was a good thing because I was singing, I was playing football. Then, as I grew up, moved out to Brooklyn, I was still trying to play football and sing. And then I went to a music high school where they didn't have any football. And so that shot my dream out as far as like trying to play football, because it was like I wasn't at a school that had football. And then they wouldn't build they didn't have the type of insurance that they needed to put together a football team, because, you had guys there who were very athletic. But because we were artists, you had guys there who were playing instruments, who were artists working with their hands. The insurance would have been off the chain. So, for a singer, I mean, I really couldn't hurt them unless you broke my neck. You know what I'm saying? Like, but so I kind of just put that football thing aside, and just went into singing. I got my first acting break, I want to say, um, back in the late 80s, right at about the late 80s. And that was through my good friend Tashina Arnold. You guys know her. She's on The Neighborhood on CBS with Cedric the Entertainer. Um, she was Rochelle on Everybody Hates Chris. Pam on Martin.
Yeah.
And so she and I, we grew up together, and she had landed a spot on a soap opera called Ryan's Hope, and we all sang together. We went to church together. So there was a writer's strike with SAG. They gave the artist creative ability to write, scenes, for themselves. So she wrote that she was in a glee club. She called me and three other friends. Next thing I know, I'm on national television.
Mm.
But the feeling was, sometimes it's good to be the chubby guy because everybody likes a chubby guy for some reason on camera. so,
Yeah.
so I ended up being casted as her best friend. After we did that episode when we sang, I ended up being casted as her best friend. So I got 13 episodes recorded on ABC, and that was my first time doing it.
Oh, wow.
So, going to a music school, of course, you know how to perform when you're singing and whatnot, but then the acting thing is a whole nother ball game, so it was like I'm just getting my feet wet, and I'm just like, yo, this is a big opportunity. And I always, tell her thank you and give her praise about, giving me that opportunity. And then God did the rest. It's like, yo, we want to keep the big guy, and he's going to be your best friend. And I was like, oh, snap. So then I went on to like go deeper into it and, started traveling, singing, but then got a manager who was also managing Tashina and a couple of my friends. And then the rest is history. And I'll answer some more of those questions about some of the opportunities and the work that I was given. Yeah, but it was great, man. New York was great. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. I experienced a lot. Had really, really good times, fun times growing up in New York City. But we'll talk some more about that because I got some funny stories.
Absolutely. You mentioned that you started singing at a younger age, and offline, I was listening to some of the songs that you were playing, man. Talk about some of your musical influences, and did you ever think that you were going to be like an R&B singer at one point?
They was trying to pull me that way, man. They was trying
Yeah.
to pull me, and I was telling my wife the other day. I said, I thank God I didn't go that route.
Mm.
It's not a bad route now. It's not a bad route, but sometimes when you go certain routes, man, you have certain different experiences. And it was crazy because one of my good friends, I call my little brother, Gerald Haywood and Lauren Dawson, they're brothers to me, and they are professional musicians. And these guys have played for like Guy, Janet Jackson, Mary J. And so Gerald had been telling Teddy Riley about me, and he's like, yo, man, come here. They were on tour. He said, man, come here. And I came down the stairs, and Teddy Riley standing in my doorway. And I'm like, yo. So, and this is before, I think this is right at the time, because he used to change personnel with Blackstreet a lot. And he was like, yo, Teddy, I want you to hear my brother sing. And I sang for him in the doorway, and he was like, yo, your brother's dope, da 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 da, like that, And I never heard anything back from them, but then I saw that David Hollister was a part of the group, and I was like, so yeah, they got another big guy, But I often thought about it because back in the days, man, I was out there doing my thing. So I was like, if I was on that type of platform,
Oh. Oh.
it would have been crazy, son. I said, nah, I'm glad that that God didn't stare me that way.
Oh yeah, a lot of broken hearts would have been left in the wake for
Shoot, mine might have been broken too.
it. Yeah.
You spoke about your opportunities on TV, and you talk highly of Tashina Arnold. Shout out to her. Who are some of your other influences in terms of you being involved in the entertainment industry?
Man, I always give a shout out to Mr. Cosby. You know, because he found out that I could sing, and I definitely give a shout out to Felicia Rashad, because it was her telling Bill Cosby that I could sing, because nobody knew. I was just on doing my thing as far as an actor. Felicia Rashad was on the board of directors of a play that I was doing, and she didn't know. She came to the opening of the show, and she sat in the chair, and I started singing a song, and she was like, "Oh my God!" She was like, "That's big fella. That's Maurice." She was like, "He can sing." I was like, So she goes back, and she runs back, and she tells Mr. Cosby, she's like, "Yo," she says, "Big fella can sing. Like, he can really sing." Like that, right? So when we were doing the I think it was my last episode with them, because I was a reoccurring role on the Cosby Show, and he had came to me, because it was like it was a tough one, because everything wasn't kind of coming together with the story. But he said, "I think if you stay on the show, it's going to bring the whole point together. What I want to bring across." And so he was like, I want you to sing on the show today." And I was, and I'm like, didn't really realize how big this show was. The Cosby Show was off the chain big. I mean,
yeah,
everybody and their mother watched it. And so that opportunity he just exposed me as a singer, actor, to the entire world. And it wasn't even in the script. It was something that he felt he wanted to do that day when we were recording. And it exposed me to this day. People still remember it, and it's relevant. And I definitely a great influence. Felicia Rashad, just an amazing lady, is still doing it. Who else? I mentioned Tashina, Alan Payne, just a good brother, a good friend, a brother that I can call today and still, get a phone call from and say what's up. Malcolm Jamal, really, really cool. Everybody in that cast is really, really down to earth and down and cool. And also shout out to Tyler Perry, for not so much on the television side, but just allowing me the opportunity to be on stage with so many amazing artists and to keep my chops up, to keep, to stay ready, stay sharp with those productions that I was doing, and being able to kind of stretch out and do what I need to do. So many wonderful relationships that came from being a part of that Tyler Perry studio camp. For Patrice Lovely, Floyd, Palmer Williams Jr., it's so many I can name. My brother Tony Hightower, all these people, we all challenged each other to be our very best every night. And so I look at these people and kind of glean and see where I could be even better. I can learn even more, and I'm always evolving. And Darren Henson, being on his show, that he wrote and was the lead in that show. So it kind of just gave me areas where I could stretch in my acting abilities and different things like that. So it's so many. I got an arm full of people who I can look at and be like, yo, I'm grateful to have shared the stage with them.
What would they do it?
Brother, what Oh, what was you had your turtle in your back.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was funny.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
she said
that
you
is,
don't know how to creep. Yeah.
yeah. So I creep, yeah,
Yeah.
just
Hey,
keep it on the down low.
That was
oh
funny.
man, let me know what do you prefer as an actor? Do you prefer being on live stage in front of people, or do you prefer film?
Um, I like both of them. I really enjoy television. My desire is to be on a soap opera and be there for like 10 years, to be in that story for like 10 years. You know what I'm saying? I love television. I will put it in that order: television, stage. And stage is fun too. Now, don't get me wrong. I love stage because it's live. You're in the moment. Um, you're right there. Anything happens, even if you're on stage and a mirror drops off the wall, you got to keep going. You got to, stay focused. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, um, I really, really, really like, television. Um, and I really enjoy doing stage as well, because it's like you become that character each in both areas. You become the character. Stage is a little bit more broad, to where television may be a little bit more subtle, but direct. Your facial expressions have to last a little bit longer, because it's right there, and the camera's right there in your face. So if you say something, you have to mean it, and you have to hold that. Where on stage, everything is in your face, is big, because you have to put that energy into the face, or into the lap of that person sitting there, and really pull them into your story, emotionally. So it's a bit bigger, but I love doing both of them. But television, I like television, and the money's good in television too.
I believe. I know you had some dealings with Tyler Perry. Maybe you could holler at him. My dream has always to be, I always wanted to be the evil boyfriend that just tripped Jill Scott down the steps. You know what I'm saying? Then make her go in the kitchen and cook me some toast, some eggs, and some grits. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that's terrible,
Yeah.
man.
Talk about that experience of being a part of one of Tyler Perry's plays.
um, it's fun. Sometimes it could be, because the turnover time. This is one of the challenges working with the turnover time is very quick.
Mm.
Like, we've recorded DVDs. Um, turned on live feed, Maurice. Where you're watching from? Let me see. Um, is that better?
No, you're fine.
Okay. No, that was a note that somebody said. Better. Okay. Um, sometimes it can be challenging because of the turnover time. Let me see. Aunt Bam's Place, one of the shows that we did, it went straight to DVD. We rehearsed. I want to say we rehearsed for no more than 2.5 weeks, and then we recorded
Mm.
the DVD. And it's tough because you got to remember all those lines. And I had a decent part. Like, I was like up in there, and you had to learn. You had to remember all of those lines. You had to remember your blocking, your songs, and you rehearsed every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes Saturday, up until you did the recording of the DVD. And the expectation was that you have your voice 110%, and you be full strength. So those are the challenging parts of being in those productions, because a lot of those productions, like if you're doing Broadway or anything like that, you get about good 2-3 months to kind of put the whole thing together. 2 weeks? It's like I went to sleep, man, on my pillow, mumbling lines in my subconscious
Mm.
because you have so much, So there's no real. You can't really rest in those times, because it's like your mind is going and it's continuing to go. That's one of the challenging parts of it. But then the other challenging part of it is this. Um, you can learn all of that stuff, and they'll take 3 scenes out of the first act and put it in the second act. Rearrange the whole thing, start the whole other thing, and then you have to. And then he'll be like, he said, "Y'all, you understand what I'm trying to do? Y'all got it? Okay, let's run it." And you're like, your head is like bugging because it's like, yo, what the heck? But once you do it a couple of times, then it makes sense. But those are some of the challenging parts of it. The great part about that whole thing is it's challenging to us, but when you get it, you know that even through some hard pressure on your mind, it builds your stamina up as far as being a performer. You're being alert, and being able to swivel anytime that anything is thrown towards you. You can kind of pivot that way and then make sure that your story is being told. It gives you think quick, and it gives you ability to kind of learn lines a little bit faster too, because now you just changed around the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the challenging moments. The great moments, is when we get that joint, we nail it, we hear the audience laugh, we hear people crying, we hear people yelling out, "Oh no, girl, you ain't gonna let him get away with that." You know what I'm saying? They yelling from the audience, different things. So that when we hear stuff like that, when people looking at you and feel sorry for you, or they're angry with you at the end of the show when you happen to run into somebody, you've done your job. And just the camaraderie with all of the performers. It was like 9 times out of 10 going out on tour and doing productions with Tyler Perry Studios. We've always formed some type of relationship to where we're friends now, right now. And that stuff happened maybe 6, 7 years ago. But we can still call each other and have a great conversation, meet, see each other. Somebody gets married, somebody has a baby, and we hook up and we're laughing like we was just with each other. So that's the great thing about that. And also touching lives as we go, and being on television presently right now on BT Plus, and the stories are still being told, and people are still watching and looking at your gift, and you're still relevant.
Absolutely. Do you feel like there's stories that are still ready to be told from the black community? You know what I'm saying? I know most of the stuff that we see is either, a little bit recycled or is laced in satire and stereotypes. But do you believe that there are stories out there that we can tell about the black experience that are new, fresh, and engaging for new audiences?
Yeah, it's just like I believe that 100%. I believe that there are stories that can be written, that should be told. Um, but I think that some promoters, some producers, some writers are afraid to tell those stories, because some of those stories is to see, and it's bad to say, but sometimes people may call that corny when you see uh, uh, a, a family in our community thriving and doing well. People may call that corny to see that, you see a bunch of hardworking young black females who've just gotten their degrees and doctrines and becoming nurses and becoming RNs and doctors and things like that, you know, versus somebody in some type of scandal, or they'll show you their triumph, and then they're quick to show you where they messed up. You know what I'm saying? Where they don't stay on that pedestal too long. You know what I'm saying? Before we throw something negative to bring down the character of that person. And I think that, you know, that's just the systematic way, or the way the world is kind of evolving. It's like, yo, anybody who's doing good. And I think too that when you live a life that may seem simple to someone else, but you're very happy with that life, you're very blessed in that space that God has given you. It may seem simple to someone else, but it's a blessing, and it's great to you because you are living a simple life to where nobody has to write anything negative about you. Nobody has to put you out there and be like, yeah, y'all thought he was this or y'all thought she was that, but look at this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo,
Mhm.
and the thing is that the people that put the pen 9 times out of 10 just haven't been caught in this situation. Trust me, they might be out there doing some crazy stuff, but they just haven't been caught. So they just feel like, hey, but people gravitate more to the negative before they gravitate more to the good, to the positive. And it's crazy that that's the way it is. But there are stories, and we can do that. Somebody, like myself or Roosevelt or yourself can do that, and put a positive. And that, when you look at the Cosby Show, right? You look at a family, a black family that had some issues. Kids were a little off the chain. They did some things, said
Right.
something, have gone through some things, but you seen a family that was solid. And somebody might say, yo, that was corny, but it was the reality. It was realistic to this. There's a family out there that's doing that.
Mhm.
Right.
That's standard. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see something where my granddaughter can sit down and watch and learn something from it, and not me saying, wait a minute, close your ears, hold on, or
Exactly.
cover your eyes, because we don't want you to hear that. We don't want that impartation in your soul, you know because it's a lot of that right now, where we're not protecting our kids, we're not covering our children, and making sure that we don't we're making sure that they're not privy to the negativity that comes through the television or comes through the tablet and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But there is a good story in there, and I don't think that it's probably been written, but not given the opportunity to be shown.
Man, do you prefer to play more serious roles, or do you like being a little silly and taking on the comedic route?
Um, yeah, I guess I gear toward the serious. I mean, I think that I'm funny naturally. Um, but I enjoy doing both of them, but more on the serious side. More
I can
serious.
see that. Yeah, you pull back some of that new boy. That was a solid punch. How close did you come to his face? You know what I'm saying?
Inches.
And just
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much inches. It's like bang.
And look, it's on him whether he goes with the punch or not.
Exactly.
You know it's
Exactly.
coming.
He moved just in time. You know, it
Yeah.
was it was the follow through that just made it just like, dang, niggas like, yo, did you really hit him? Did you make a mistake and hit him? I was like, man. Like, man.
Look, believe what you want. If you felt it, then good. I did my job.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, that
So
was a great opportunity. Um and that was like, I want to say that was my first time like leading,
mm,
because if you watch the whole thing, it was like I kind of just led through the whole. uh I was the lead in it, and I kept that story going all the way from the beginning to the end, and the way the story is, and again, stories like that where four brothers lose their parents, in a short amount of time. In between losing one, you lose another, and me being the older brother, having to take care of three brothers, all different ages, all have their focus on different things and carrying different things from their past and all those different, and it's like I got to be everything to everybody, and then have a fiance that's caught in the mix of all that stuff. Man, it was really good, and it really stretched, my acting ability, and really taught me how to tap into some things. So, I'm still growing, man. Still growing. I tell people all day, I don't claim to be the best singer. I don't claim to be the best um, actor. I said, but there's nobody like Maurice Lauchner.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You spoke about just now tapping in, and talk about how you prepare yourself to tap into a character to bring that character to life. I know a lot of people they've asked me in my time where I've done a little couple of things and said, how you act like somebody? I said, I don't act. The best way to be an actor is to not act, is to bring whatever you are to life and just to be that individual. So what is something that you do to kind of prepare yourself to tap into the characters that you bring to life on stage and on TV?
I think the smart thing to do is, as you read it, as you understand who that person is that you become that person. So you won't have to act. You create that backstory that makes it realistic. Make it realistic. Make it so real that because of your backstory, let's just say you come from a blue collar family. You had a father who was an alcoholic. You had a mother who was a nurse, and he would drink because he worked so many hours. He was so insecure that he would drink to the point to where he just didn't trust her. She was doing absolutely nothing but just helping the family. But
Mm.
then you have a son who's looking on and watches how he treats his mom, you know, and has to deal with that mentally. And so I'm that son. So when I go out in public, I have some deep seated resentments for someone who I love with all of my heart. And I have an issue with women, and I'm being used and a sucker because of what I'm dealing with within my home and my environment, and how I'm being um, raised, or what have you, or what I'm
Mm.
seeing, which is shaping my character.
Mm.
You know, so when I become that guy and I'm walking in that, when I open my mouth, my actions, my body language, everything would betray who that character is, because I've written a story. My backstory is so tight that I don't have to act it. I'm that guy,
Right.
and that's what brings the realness to it.
Talk about support, family support, and you have a beautiful family, an amazing wife who is a pastor of your church, and your kids. Talk about the support that you have in terms. 'Cause I know you're on the road and you're doing all these tours and you're doing these plays. Talk about the support aspect of what you do.
Um, well, my kids are grown. They're grown, but I I've been doing this for over 30 years, and they're very, very supportive. Like, my kids, when they hear I'm doing a play, or if they hear I'm going on tour, they're sharing um, they're sharing my the production that I'm in. You know, when I was on tour doing some of the Tyler Perry stuff, like my wife would come, or she would bring my kids, and they would come to the show. Family, I had they used to they used to crack, or they used to be like, Maurice, you got family in every city that we go to. It's like, what city don't you have family? We were in Washington, Maryland, New Jersey, New York City, Pennsylvania, Houston. They was like, yo, you got family everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, and they out here. You know, they would come to the show. I mean, I never forget like my family in Ohio. They came back to my room and they had trays of like they was like, don't worry about going out to dinner after you get finished. We're gonna bring some food to your room because I had a suite and everything. And they were like, we're gonna bring some food to your room. We're gonna hang out with you for a little while. We haven't seen you in years. And so the support is just awesome. It's just amazing, and I love it because when you're away from your family for like when I used to travel overseas, forget it. I was over there for 2 months, almost 3 months, and it's not like the tours that we were doing here. You work from Thursday, you fly out Wednesday, but you'll work from Thursday to Sunday, and you go back home Monday, Tuesday, and then fly back out on Wednesday. So you get 2 days to come back and hang out with the family, catch up with everybody, see what everybody's doing, and then you're back on the road. Not like that. When you overseas, you're overseas, and you're not coming back until you come back. But the support is great, the prayers great, um, and you know they they're right there with me because they know that this is what I love to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's great. It's really a good thing. So no, because there's some people I do know that have like where if you run into a person or a spouse that's not cool with that, um, you can run into some really difficult stuff. If people don't understand what you do for a living and they're not supportive of it and they feel like you need to be home with them, but you're out there making money and taking care of the family, it could be a whole mess. But I'm grateful that my wife, um, she knew what I was doing before I met her. You know what I'm saying? And so she supports me like 100%.
Absolutely. Who would be someone that you would love to work with on the field? Do you have like your top five actors that you would love to work with?
Um, I honestly, I honestly can't say that I have a top five that I would, want to work. I mean, there's so many dope artists out there that I mean, to be in the scene with a Denzel would be dope. But I would really like to work like my boy, Alan Payne. I would like to work with him again. Um, Tashina would love to work with her in a featured film. Um, it said we look alike, and I'm like, oh man. I was like, and some people, I'm in the supermarket. They was like, this lady says to me, you look like the guy who was in um, Greenleaf. I was like, Keith David, and I'm thinking it was the beard or what. I'm like, like, yeah, the pastor. I was like, oh man. I was like, well, I get that, and I've been getting that a whole lot. I said, well, you know what? God, maybe you can hook something up that I'll be his brother or something, and we can be in a movie or something, you know. But earlier in my life, when I was a little bit younger, before I grew a gray beard, they were saying that I look like Cedric the Entertainer, and I was like, what? I was like, okay, I guess.
All right.
I don't think
Whatever.
so, but you know, but yeah, that was crazy. But I mean, there's so many artists out there, man. Um, that I at any rate, you know, I haven't really dreamt about who I just would really, really be just overwhelmed to be in a movie with them. I take every opportunity and as something great. It's just another platform for me to show my gift and my talent, man, and just be really honored that God would even consider me, So yeah, that's how I look at that right there.
Have you ever thought about it or explored, or has it come to you as far as a life behind the pulpit? Is there something that has ever been presented to you, or like a pastor? Would you ever get behind the pulpit?
I have been. I've been um I've been licensed and have done funerals and weddings and did one baptism. Um since let me see, I want to say uh 2000 and dang, I was like a youth preacher at our church in Brooklyn, and that had to be like early 2000s. So it's been like 22 years or so. Maybe, yeah, about 20. And then I was ordained as a pastor of worship, and you know what that means. As a pastor, you oversee the worship department. So that covered everything that had to do with music, everything that had to do with lights, camera, action, all of that stuff. That was my department to cover. And but being able to speak um to a congregation, I've done that several times. Um, you know, and when we started ministry in New York City, at the called New Beginnings, that was a time when I was the head minister. But now we've started free ministries. Alicia is the head minister, head pastor. So, we do it together. And it's amazing because, we have house church. Roosevelt has come before. And to see people's lives being changed right before your eyes, because of the simple gospel. Nothing over the people's heads, nothing. Everything is simple. Simple enough that Roosevelt's son can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
To where my granddaughter, who's 8 years old, can understand it. Because you don't want to go so deep into stuff to where it goes over people's head. The first thing is of sharing the love of Christ with somebody. Because a lot of people nowadays don't know if anybody loves them. You know, and to be able to simply say that Jesus loves you. Let's start there. You know what I mean? And then as we grow and our relationship with him becomes more close and intense, then we're able to hear, and go into those deeper things. You know what I'm saying? So it's a really, really fun, rough walk. It's fun. It's rough some times because you know you just don't know sometimes. It's like you gather and then it's like and then you have 10 people here and then one day you might have 4 people here. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to know that you've been called to really serve people and to really get to know people of all different lifestyles, different walks, different personalities, and yet love people because you have Christ in you. And he's the one that you're really exhibiting the love of Christ so that people will know that this is a safe place. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
One of the things you have coming up right now is a show called Vengeance, and get ready to show that the picture right now. Uh, Tell us about this production. Who's in charge of this production, and where can people get the tickets?
Um, this is Sudden Glory Ministries. I've worked with them several times. We've done at least 2 or 3 shows that I've done with them. Well, one show at least 3 times, and then I did another show with them. Um, and these is a wonderful couple, and they put together some really, really good shows. This is going to be in Americus, Georgia, and I believe the information is on that flyer, where they can buy the tickets. I'm going to post again where it has more clarity on where people can buy the tickets. And like say if Columbus, Georgia, Americus, Georgia is where Jeffrey's from, Jeffrey Lewis, the brother on the left side of the flyer, and it's near Albany, Georgia. So Albany, Georgia, Columbus, Georgia, and Americus, Georgia, they're somewhat in the same vicinity. Maybe Columbus, Georgia is maybe like a good 45 minutes to an hour away from where that's going to be. But that is going to happen in next year, January the 18th. So far, that is the first show that I'm doing in the new year. But I have another show. I don't know if you've seen that flyer that's happening right downtown Raleigh, North Carolina on December the 28th. It's a Christmas, a holiday play. So yeah, that's going to be happening before that.
Okay.
Have you ever, or would you ever consider putting on your writer director hat?
Absolutely. You ain't got to say no more. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. That is definitely something that I desire to do. That's why when you ask that question, are there stories that could be told? Yes, absolutely. I want, my desire is really to just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? To have that story where you see people in a good light, and there don't have to be no turmoil that you have to impart to make it something that makes it you know. But the reality is that there is, like, when and I don't know about y'all, but I mean, in reality is like, yo, listen, there's a crackhead in every family. There's LGBTQ in every family. You got alcoholics in every family. You got weed smokers in every family. That's reality. But it doesn't have to be that thing that's written that be something that dampers the whole story. The reality is that they're there. But what if, like, and this is a testimony in my family. I had an aunt who was a stone cold alcoholic, bro. Yo, she she could drink, and God touched her life. She stopped drinking. She prayed a lot of people in our family into salvation. She died. She died young, bro. She was in her 50s.
Mm.
She had such an impact in her neighborhood that crackheads, streetwalkers were coming and asking what could they give to the family because this lady had been so good to us. She would feed them. She would pray for them. And one night she went to sleep and didn't get up. And her daughter, my cousin, and her name was Maurice too. Her daughter knew that at a certain time in the morning was when Aunt Maurice would get up to pray. She wasn't up praying.
Mm.
She had passed away. That's what got her out of the bed. She said, I don't hear my mother praying. And she went in there and she was gone. But I knew her when she was an alcoholic. I knew her when she would be so drunk that she'd be falling and then get a scar on her face and be like, how'd you get that? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But then seeing her turn her whole God God turned her whole life around and impact people in her neighborhood to the point to where they was like crying outside in front of the gate. They hadn't even brought her body out yet. They were out. They heard that she was died. That she died because they seen the cops and everything. And they were out. The crackheads were outside crying, man, wanting to give whatever money they had to the daughter.
Mm.
So where are those stories?
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely, absolutely. And the show that you're talking about, I do have that flyer. Is
Hey,
the real meaning of Christmas happening
yeah,
in downtown Raleigh, and the date is December 28th. So if you guys are in the Raleigh area, please come on out and show support. Show support to local artists, and someone that's international, such as Maurice Lauchner, and they, bring the true meaning, the real meaning of Christmas.
yeah. Come see me. I'm singing my hit songs.
Oh man, let me ask you a question because this when we were listening to the music earlier, like I'm a big fan of like Al Green and
Mhm.
Stevie Wonder and all those, but I was listening to some songs today, and I'm like, a lot of songs now don't talk about love anymore.
Yeah,
They don't have a premise for love, and I'm
you know.
like, man, it's crazy that my son and my sons are going to grow up and I will have to teach them about love. And I know back in when I was coming up, music kind of taught you a little something about love or or spreading love. Um, you have a grandbaby, right?
Hmm.
What is it that you want to teach uh, her about love?
Well, I have two granddaughters now, thank God. But the first one, we taught her about God's love first, right?
Mhm.
Because she is who we consider our miracle baby. She was born in 23 weeks.
Wow.
Mm.
She was 1 pound and 3 ounces born. And we often tell her about how much God loves her. There was a day in the midst of her growing, and it was crazy because her heart was fully developed. She had one half of her lung development, or partially the other half developed. She had bleeding on one side of the brain where they were, predicting that she would have some problems with mobile skills and things like that. And she stayed in the NICU for August, August, September, 3 months. And we got a call one day. She was on the machine, to help her breathe. And we got a call, and they were like, "Come now," because we don't know whether she's gonna make it through the day. Because she wasn't hardly breathing. The machine was doing mostly everything. And we were praying. My daughter was crying, and my wife said, "Don't worry about anything. She's gonna live." We got up there, and the numbers on the ventilator was down, like 30 in the 30s. That joke
Mm.
was be up in the 80s and the 90s,
Right.
to where she's doing a lot of the most of the breathing. That joint was in the 30s, went down to 28, and as soon as we got in there and we started in that NICU, and we started talking, she heard her mom's voice, she heard my wife's voice, and my wife went over to that I forgot what you call the little plastic thing that they be in, and she said, "Live, Amaya, live." And those numbers started going up. And by the time we left, the numbers was in the 80s and the 90s, and the doctor was like, I'm sorry for even calling y'all." She was like, "I don't know." She said, are y'all believers? Do y'all pray?" And she said, "Yes, we do." And she said, "Well, just keep doing what you're doing." And that's the first thing that we want to impart in them, that the love of God, that the love that God has for her. And and just loving people. You know, love is something that we express, but also we show.
Right.
And these kids nowadays, they don't. There was, I think it was the Winans that sang this song. It said, "Love has no color. You're my brother." You know, and love shows no evil. You know, and so we teach about love. And of course, as we grow, you know, we see that there, you know, some people haven't been taught. They've been taught some other things, you know. But the first thing is teaching how to love and show love, you know. And in her character already, I love it. You know, back in the days, what she does, back in the days, they would just say, just do what I told you to do and be quiet.
Right.
But she asks questions like, you say, hey, I want you to go over there and do such and such and such and such and such. And some people would deem this to be disrespectful, but I deem it to be a good part of her character. She says, why, Papa? Why do I need to go do that? And then I teach her, right?
Mm-hmm.
If she has that in her character already, that's one thing I don't want to take from her, especially the way the world is today. If she's in an environment where we're teaching about love and teaching about self-respect and respecting others, and she gets into a place to where she is disrespected or not understanding why they're saying this or telling her to do this, that, or the third, and she asks the question why, then you hold that person accountable to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So I told my daughter one day, I said, no, 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 no. She said, don't. I tell her, don't get on her for wanting to ask why, because she wants to know. Don't leave that alone. Let her ask why, and then you teach her, because that type of stuff starts in the house. You know, you can't teach, because in you notice, Roosevelt, in the public school system right now, things that are going on, you know, things that are going on with these young kids right now. You know, you want to be able to ask the question why. You want to be able to. You want that little kid to say, no, no, that ain't what I was learned. That I was taught at home. No, no. That ain't what my grandfather told me. That's not what my mother told me. That's not what my dad. You know what I'm saying? You want them to be able to stand and know right from wrong, and not just be put in a position where they say, well, that's just the way it is. You just got to go with it. No, no, that's not what I believe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. So having those songs and that music that speaks about love, and they give life lessons and all those different things like that. That's our job. We can shoot. They can listen to Drake and all of them all they want to, but I got sons and daughters right now that old school Earth, Wind and Fire, Marvin Gaye, Barry White, all those, they know about all of that, all of it, and they love it. You know what I'm saying? It's what we teach. It's what we teach as fathers, as uncles, as brothers. It's what we teach to them that helps shape their lives. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I think about that. It starts at home.
Absolutely. And you're right, it does start at home. The love starts at home, and it starts within, and then it goes to the home, and then it radiates. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it starts with God, then it goes within, then it radiates from you. Yeah. The pipeline. Oh man. Well listen, before we got on this show, Roosevelt said some disparaging things about you. And so I want you to have an opportunity to kind of fight back. We have this segment on the show called Best Damn Promos, where we put Roosevelt up against our guest in the promo battle.
All right.
So I want to see if you can dig into that action bag, bring some of those chops out, man, and cut a scathing promo against the boy Roosevelt. And I'm gonna let him go first. He always try to make somebody go first. But I'm gonna make him go first today so you can see how the flow goes.
Yeah, please, because I don't know what's going on. Now you done got me looking crazy.
You know what? Because we have the actor extraordinaire on the show tonight, I'm gonna change it up. We're gonna do an improv battle. So it ain't gonna be no promo talking trash or stuff. We're gonna do an improv battle. And we're just gonna keep this conversation going back and forth in an improv type of situation and to see how far we can get before the other person cracks. How's that sound?
I got a scenario for you. Both of y'all are brothers and y'all fighting over the family money.
Right, what?
The family fortune.
Got it. Ready? On you, Brian.
All right. Beautiful people, prepare yourself. We're going to war. All right, it's on you.
So what you here for, man? You here to take the family fortune? You here to tell me how to run my life now? You know what's been running my life for the longest? This right here. I've been able to depend on this when you wasn't here. You can sit there and look at me like you disappointed in me. So what? I've been disappointed in you all my life. Because when I was here, making sure dad wasn't putting his hands on mom, where was you, man? Where was you when I was getting all those black eyes? Where was you when I was sitting beside my mother while she in the hospital? And now you want to come home? Why? Because they gone and there's some money to collect? You're something else, man.
No, you're something else. How you think you got a roof over your head? How you think you getting around? I was taking care of y'all the whole time. So I'm not coming to collect nothing. I gave while you was high. I gave while you was drinking. I gave while you thought you was the only one doing something. But I had a responsibility. And I was taking care of that responsibility, and I was taking care of you while you were taking care of our parents. But now your resentment of me because you didn't know the whole story is in that daggone bottle, and you blaming me? Nigga, you wouldn't even be around here. You wouldn't be able to stand on 2 feet if it wasn't for me, brother. You wouldn't even have the heat that you so comfortably are chilling in right now if it wasn't for me. So every bit of money that you have, everything that's in the savings, who you think was putting it in there? You think it just popped up? Magically? Did you put it in there? But you got out of it. So don't do that, man. Don't do that. If you know the whole story, you don't know the whole story, man. Don't come for me, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, my big brother, the savior of our family, the one that looked out for the little brother, that looked out for the family. You want to come in our house, my house, and tell me what you did for me? You ain't do nothing for me.
I ain't do
All
nothing for you.
did was leave me behind. You left, man. You left While I stayed here, yeah, in this bottle, because this is what I needed right here to be able to deal with that man every single day. Every day. So you can look down on me all you want. Cheers to you.
I don't think you heard a word that I just said. I'm not looking down on you, man. You looking down on that bottle. Listen, before you get this twisted, let me tell you one thing. I wouldn't be here if I didn't love you, man. I would not be here at all if I didn't love you. I wouldn't do some of the things that I've done silently for you if I didn't love you. But you're not angry at me. You're angry at yourself.
That was good.
Boy, I got chills. Oh man, somebody write it. Somebody write it, film it, book it. Yeah. Oh man, that was a great scene. I'm trying to tell you, I'm like to break out my camera and start recording some shit right now.
Hey, best damn nation. Just in case y'all didn't know, I got chops, man. I can chop it, man.
Yeah, Roosevelt got a couple Tubi movies out there. Yeah.
Yeah, we got something, man.
Hey.
But you know what? My thing is, I believe that God gonna put us in a position to where we're gonna be able to do all the things that we've dreamt to do and put stuff together. That's my prayer. Um, it's all about the that train that moves stuff, and we know what that is. That's money, because money is energy,
Mhm.
and you can get people together, and you can get people to sow their time in it, but it's nothing like having creating a nucleus of people who believe in what you're doing and start doing stuff. But even at the small level, I've done some things even with our ministry to where I've gotten a group of people together, and by the grace of God, we were able to pay everybody that participated. And again, Roosevelt, you've seen our ministry. By the grace of God, we're able to go to my son's former school, Lockhart Elementary, and speak to the counselors there and ask them, what families are struggling, and during the holidays and stuff like that. Get a Christmas list of a family of 5 and do our very best by getting everything that they wanted on that list.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And when you sow into people's lives, and when whether it's your time, whether it's your talent, and you sow, trust me, you're going to reap bountifully. You're going to reap. And I believe that I'm in that space right now, humbly going out every morning, driving these kids to school, kids who are paraplegic, and kids who are autistic, kids who have just mental behavioral issues and things like that, taking them to school to and fro, and being able to sow into their families' lives. When we pull off and we see that these kids can barely do anything for themselves, you look and see the seed that you're sowing in their families, and then not really realizing how and when God's gonna bless you on the other end of things, to where you can start doing the things that you love to do, be in that space that you love to be in as a performer and as a singer, as a wrestler, as a producer, as a promoter, and doing those things, man. I believe that if we just stay focused and keep doing what we're doing, we're right in the right place to where we're gonna taste and see the milk and honey, that promised place that was promised for us, because we're not throwing in the towel, we're not giving up. And as you said, Roosevelt, that we can fight all the way to the 12th round and still swinging. I believe that. And while the world is going crazy about who's going to be the next president and all that kind of stuff, if we live in our space and develop and grow in our space that God has given us, we ain't got to worry about these crazy. Excuse me. We ain't got to worry about.
Right. No, I receive that. Receive that fully. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I believe that this next door that God is opening for me is going to help me with Lauchner Music Entertainment to be able to say, yo, Roosevelt, okay, let's do this now. Let's get this stuff going. You know what I'm saying? Because it's that time where people really need to hear good news. People really need to be around some good energy, good environments where you just do your thing, man, and be a blessing in the community.
That's right. Oh man, listen, you have been dropping jewels throughout the entire show, man. And I've enjoyed talking to you, my brother, and just learning from you. You have been a blessing. Just from the things that you've said, man, I've really taken to heart, man. So we have this segment on the show called Final Word, where you can give a little bit of motivation, word of advice, something of that sort. And I know, like I said, you've been dropping jewels the whole entire show. But Maurice, do you have a final word for your beautiful subjects?
Yes, just it's something that I always say. There are promises that God has spoken to us and about us. Live in the promise of God, not for it. Live in it. Keep going, because He's never said anything that He hasn't accomplished. So
Absolutely.
Just keep going.
Just keep going. That is the final word from your boy, Maurice Lauchner. Roosevelt, do you have a final word for the beautiful people?
Absolutely. My final word today is that the quietest room in a building is the loudest. Let me say that for you again. The quietest room in a building will always be the loudest. If you can find the way to remove yourself from all the chaos that's going on in your life and go to somewhere where you can just sit down and focus, you can hear so much more. And it will come to you in the loudest sound that it would be almost unbearable. And definitely undeniable. And that is my final word for the best damn wrestling podcast. That the quietest room in the building is the loudest.
Absolutely. That is a final word from the one and only Roosevelt Conyas. Oh man, listen, this was an absolutely great show. Real quick, uh, where can the people find you and what you got going on?
Well, I have a website that's www.mauricelauchner.com. I'm on all the social medias as Maurice Lauchner. I don't have any tag names like Sexual Chocolate, Big Chocolate, like I don't have no names like that. Furthermore, my wife would be like, "Are you crazy? Put that tape."
Sexual Chocolate.
Right.
Yeah.
But Yeah, Maurice Lauchner on all the social media, Facebook. Maurice Man Lauchner is my like page. Maurice MAN Lauchner is my follow and like page. Maurice Lauchner on Instagram and Maurice Lauchner on TikTok. And what else do they have? That's it, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that's it. Anything. But if you Google me, you'll find everything. But it's mauricelochner.com, and you'll get all of my information. I'm a vocal coach. I have a oil business where I sell oil perfume business, and Free Ministries is the name of our ministry. We're on Facebook at Free Ministries. My wife, I believe, is one of the baddest teachers of the gospel in this area and abroad. She's very dope, and y'all need to check us out. Come down to the basement house church.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna have to get me some oil, man. I love me some good smelling oil. You know, I like to smell good around the house. You know, I had to get me about a bottle too.
I'll tighten up, son. Well, you in North Carolina?
No, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona.
I'll ship it out there to you, Jack.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, my wife ain't gonna know what hit. Oh man, well listen, I'm gonna have you help us in the show, okay? Don't tell your pastor I had you on our show pressing, okay? I just want you to say one word. And that's damn. So I'm gonna say we will see you next week on the next best. I'm pointing to you, and I want you to say damn. You got to reach down in the pit of your soul. You know what I'm saying? And bring that damn up. You know what I mean? All right, let's go. Beautiful people, best damn nation. We will see you next week on the next best
Damn.
wrestling podcast. That was good right there. All right. Maurice Lauchner, man, you are a member of the Best Damn Crew. Thank you so much for being on this platform, my friend. You're a blessing, man, and I hope that everyone who listens to you is blessed by your presence, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And anytime you got something going on, man, let us know. You come on the show and you can promote it, man. We like to be able to promote everything that you got going on. So anything you got, send it to me, and we'll put it on the page and everything else.
Definitely. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely,
brother. Beautiful people, we bid you adieu.